What's up, guys? It's Ryan. Welcome back to the channel where we tackle the mysteries of the music industry and build a larger fan base, grow an income from your music, and improve our musical skills. And speaking of that, I have here Steve Leslie, Grammy Award-winning songwriter in Nashville, who's going to help us on this next video. And today, we're going to talk about 5 reasons that your songs are terrible. Well, okay, maybe not terrible, but we're going to talk about 5 things that you could do to guaranteed make your songwriting better. Steve's the master, so the first thing that I wanted to do before we jump into the 5 things is just, why don't you just tell a little bit about yourself, just in case someone's tuning in for the first time, and
Sure.
And then we'll dive right into these tips.
Appreciate it. Sure, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ron. And what a thrill it is to be with you again, man. I moved to Nashville in '92. I've been doing this a long time, and I got a publishing deal at EMI, one of the largest music publishers in the world, as a staff songwriter. So I was writing songs every day in little rooms with other songwriters who I adored, and wrote songs, and we pitched them to artists, country artists, and we got some. I got some cuts.
Nice.
Again, it was an easier business then. Easier, maybe not. That's not the word. There were more opportunities there because there were more publishing companies. There were more record labels. People were buying CDs for $18, and you could make a living just having songs on records and not having single hits on radio. You see what I mean? Because you were selling a bunch of records. So I made my living getting cuts, and was fortunate enough to get songs cut by Kenny, Darius Rucker, and George Strait, and got a Grammy for a Best Bluegrass Song on a Ricky Skaggs Brand New Strings record back in 2012, I think. Had some other cuts, and have been able to do it, and have taught for many years too. I'm a big fan of teaching the craft of songwriting in universities, and from Belmont to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and on my own, and then now here with you sharing these wonderful insights.
Awesome. Yeah, dude. So anyone who's tuning in, you're in a good place. Steve's been doing songwriting for so long. So when we talk about these tips, these are real things that you should implement in your career right now. So the first way to make sure that your songs aren't terrible, and Steve and I talked about this in advance, is to make sure that you're actually doing some rewrites and not just, writing it and calling it done on the first round.
That's the truth.
How big is that, Steve?
Well, it's huge. I mean, there's a saying in town that songs aren't written, they're rewritten. And I may go a little farther than others. I'm a big, I will say that in this particular industry, there's a philosophy going around that the more songs you write, the more chances you have of getting a cut, because you have more songs on the street. So that means some writers are writing 2 and 3 times a day.
Wow.
And coming out with 2 and 3 songs a day. And there's not much rewriting going on. And I think in a lot of ways, the craft has really suffered because of it. Now, there's no virtue in writing fast. I never thought that was a virtue. And you hear it sometimes, man, I only wrote that in an hour or 2. Oh, man, he wrote that song in 20 minutes. Okay. Now, sometimes when you write enough, you do get a gift. The muse will give you a gift, and something pours out in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and you look at it, and really it's there. It doesn't need to be touched. But it's the only way to get there is to slog through rewrites over and over again until that gift is given.
To build that habit of tapping into that excellence sooner.
It's like practicing whatever sport you're doing, and then one game it just all works, and everything you do seems to work. But you're not going to get there until you're practicing and really working the muscles. So rewriting is huge, and I kind of do it in several different ways. And whether I'm writing by myself or with somebody, write the song, and then we'll usually record it, and I'm listening to it a lot, on the drive home or whatever, and I'll hear things that jump out when I'm sort of passively listening, and I'll make note of that. And then I'll spend time with the song, and if we're going to demo the song, I don't turn the song in as a final lyric until after the demo session, because the demo singer is a fine musician, greatest singers in the world are up here singing. They'll sing something unconsciously that's not even on the page. That's better.
Gotcha. So that almost kind of comes into like collaborate through the whole process. Don't get tied to what you have on the paper because the song can evolve in real time.
It really can. And if I got goosebumps when you said that. I've had people sing something, I go, and he goes, oh, Troy Johnson in town's a master at this. He'll sing something and he'll go, oh man, I'm sorry, take me back to verse 2. I went, that's better. And it's not going to be a profound change. It may be an and instead of a but. It might be a baby instead of nothing there. It may be just a guttural utterance or something that just goes, oh, that's good, you know. And I've even had demo singers actually sing the second verse first. Some reason, maybe they had a towel hanging, and anyway, and they go, well, take me back, man, I'm sorry, and I'm going, that's way better. That's, of course, the story unfolds better that way. So don't be tied, be out here 30,000 feet. Look at it, let it kind of live, because it'll find its right way. And you get other musicians in there, demo singers or whatever, and they're contributing things, and it can be better. And for me, I never turn that in until I come out from a demo session and say, man, this is better now, and Troy said this, so I'm going to say baby instead of nothing there. And then for me, when I've got that written lyric sheet, at that point, and I write it out, I'm actually, when I type it, when I'm typing to turn it in, that's when I can find some things then. So that's the final step in the rewriting process, is while I'm actually typing it. And I go, oh, wait a minute, I just contradicted. That really should be an and. Or, you know what, I just jumped tenses. That should be a was instead of a is, you know? And so it's granular at that point. And then I'll turn it in. And honestly, and then I'll close. If I had my way, and I usually don't, because there is some truth into writing more songs. I would play these things out for 3 months before I turn them in as a final song.
To get some real feedback, real time.
I'm getting feedback, and like the demo singer, I'm singing them differently. And I'll add stuff pocket stuff usually. The melody feels better because I've worked it, and then I might be eliminating words that feel better when a singer sings it. Then at that point, that would be the best way to do it. And,
that's awesome.
But usually you don't get that sort of freedom. But
that goes perfectly into our next tip. So making sure your songs aren't terrible. What do you do if you find that your lyrics are confusing? Because I feel like for myself, if I don't do rewrites, if I'm not looking at my lyrics with a watchful eye, later down the road when it's sometimes too late, I'll see, oh shoot, that didn't actually make sense. Like, what are some practical ways to make sure your lyrics aren't confusing so that your song doesn't end up terrible?
I think you have to play it for other people and just be real honest about their reply. And not your mom. Oh, I love that. Oh, it's so great. You got to play it for. My wife is a great critic because she's an English major, and she listens objectively.
Yeah.
Really. And so she's hearing things, and she'll say, and it's not the song doesn't make sense, because we've been writing long enough that it's going to make pretty good sense, unless we're trying to be abstract on purpose. But it's the little things like changing tenses accidentally, or an unintended ambiguity. Yeah. An unintended ambiguity. Where
you just gloss over it, but a new listener is like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah, or thinks it means something else. And then when you hear it, you go, oh, I can see why you would think that.
Yeah. That injects some meaning that is not supposed to be there at all.
Not in your not and can contradict what you were intending to. Absolutely. Unintended ambiguity. Got to be very careful.
That's a big one. Yeah.
It's a big one. And so I think playing it for other people, and maybe just a couple, and playing it for songwriters. Not everybody, because you don't want to get 20 different opinions. Yeah. But you'll have a couple people that you go to, and it's very honest. Especially in this town, you're like, man, let me. I got a couple people. Let me play this for you. Does anything jump out at you? Yeah. And they would say, man, I love the second verse, but I'm wondering, are they in the same place they were before? Did they move, for instance?
So then you can refine and make sure those elements are a lot clearer and that you're telling the story better.
If it's clarity that you're after.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
A lot of times it's, oh no, it doesn't make any sense, but it's cool. No, I mean, I'm a big fan of it makes sense and it's cool.
Yeah, it's good to get both of those. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Play it for other people. A couple others that you trust will give you an honest opinion. And when they say, "Man, I love it," there's nothing. I mean, it just nothing bumped at all. Nothing bothered me at all. That's probably an honest opinion. If before they said, "Yeah, the second verse kind of," you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's improvement. Sweet. All right, let's move on to tip number 3. And this is specifically for the viewers who maybe do their own production at home or they record themselves. And the tip is making sure that your songs aren't too long. And so what would you say is like the ideal length of a song?
Well, through the years, I have relied on the fact that if it's not really how long it is, but does it feel complete? I have songs that were 2 minutes and 14 seconds long that just felt like they were timeless.
But like on the other end, though, you can get where the song is so long that it's not really usable in the real world. That
doesn't happen hardly at all with me. Usually it's too short.
I see. Usually
it's too short, and we play it and I go, golly, that thing was only 2 minutes and 27 seconds, And then the next question is, but it's perfect. It doesn't. It's what it needs to be, and so we leave it there. But if we play it and we go, it's 3:28. Well, that's not too long, but we will at that point really look at it. So let's cut the guitar solo in half. Or you know what? Maybe we don't need a solo at all. What if it's cool if it just goes right into the chorus after that bridge, and we play through and we go, it doesn't need to. So if it's too long, we really take a look at it and try to get back to that 3 to 3:30 world.
Yeah, 3 to 3:30.
But if it's 2 minutes and 22 seconds,
and it feels right.
It feels great. And also a business idea and a practical application to this used to be, and I think still, when, of course, a lot of radio stations are already programmed down to the second by a robot. But used to be, I'm sure it's still the case in some ways, if a programmer's running a little ahead of schedule and the news is going to start in 2 minutes and 32 seconds, they have a database of songs that are like 2:20.
Wow.
And they'll go plug in the boom. Maybe they planned on playing this one, but they're going to play your song because they got in the head. He talked too much or whatever, and they're going to play the 2:22 song that I wrote. Yeah. That it's beautifully from the end of that song to the segue of the news.
Nice, yeah. So those shorter songs are good for filling up airtime.
Sure. Absolutely, but it's all about complete. But if it is too long and feels right, that's a tough place to be. If it's 4 minutes, but man, it just needed all of that. Then guess what? The song's 4 minutes long, and maybe you wrote Bohemian Rhapsody. Just saying.
Well, that's another perfect segue. All right, tip number 4, and how to make sure your songs aren't terrible. And this one is going to be kind of hard for some folks, but it's making sure that the songs that you're writing are current and they have a modern feel to it, and you're not like reinventing the wheel as far as like trying to be just like Queen or trying to be just like Led Zeppelin, and so what do you have to say towards that? Like, a lot of artists have their influences but maybe struggle with not ever innovating. That's
a longer conversation that I've thought a lot about, and a lot of people have thought about, from T.S. Eliot to Robert Frost to everybody else who's written a lot about imitation and originality. Obviously, we have to imitate. That's how we got where we are. You imitate, and what's the thing? What's the the famous adage about talent borrows, genius steals? Absolutely, you steal from. I would say virtually everything in my songs that I write, especially harmonically. If someone says, "Man, I love that chord change," I could say, "Yeah, that's just Michelle. That's Beatles. That's Michelle." Or, "Man, I love that. What did you do? I love that chord change from there. I don't think I've ever done that." Yeah, Bacharach. I stole it from Bacharach. It's an Alfie. I mean, I know when I get these things and I study and I go, "Oh, I'm going to steal that. That's beautiful." Because he stole it from Copeland.
Yeah.
Stole it from and sort of.
Yeah.
So But being original, boy, good luck with that one.
Yeah.
And certainly in the industry in Nashville songwriting, it's not a bad thing to sound just like the last hit. Because if something's working, that's what they want. The next song like that one. Now
nice. Yeah.
that plays to the stereotype of Nashville songwriters, where we get in rooms and we just crank out the same song all the time, and that's true. That can certainly happen and does happen a lot. But the reward for that can be $750,000 too. So. For a number one song. So it's hard to say, no, I don't want to write a hit like the last one because, I'm an artist and I want to do something different. Well, that can be a tough place to be. Now, me personally, I can sound dated because I've been doing this a lot longer than the younger people in town. I've had younger writers go, man, I love that era.
I wrote that song last week.
And it's a compliment. They're saying, oh, I love the 90s. Oh, I love your melodies. Oh, they're so 90s. Oh, boy, if I could have written in that time. Oh, boy, that's... And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're trying to write. So the older guys, have you figured out there's no general answer to any of these? You can't generalize. It's very contextual.
Yeah. Okay.
Contextual. Yeah. So being an older writer, writing with younger folks that are trying to get cuts. Again, we're talking about being in the show, not in somewhere else dreaming about writing for a living. We're talking about what works here.
Yeah, right. Doing it for real in Nashville.
Doing it for real in Nashville. Other places different, but okay. But here, and that's the value I think of what we do. The conversations we have is absolutely. So I mean, you have to. I personally, and I think a lot of the older writers would get this too. You have to be open to the new language of writers. Yeah. And I read something that Quincy Jones said not long ago, and he was talking about a different era, but it completely makes sense with this era. That rhythm is revolution. Rhythm is revolution. The young people's rhythm now that are playing on country radio, that rhythm is different than my rhythm. Why would they want to keep my rhythm? Conversational lyrics with longer melodies and chain chords. They've got a different rhythm to their world and to their language because their playlists include things that mine don't. So I have to be open to that. Now, as far as Nashville is concerned, older writers like me can really help with the lyric. And really try to make that make sense, because you have a lot of young writers in town from a different school of thought that may, you're overthinking it. It just feels right. Well, it can feel right and make sense. Nice. That's perfect. Let me show you how to do this. And almost 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh God, that's good. That's way better. And I go, yeah, I mean, it can be cool and make sense, dude. So. But you have to take in your influences, and it's a different thing as an artist. I think now we're talking about songwriters. As an artist, I think you absolutely have to look at yourself and look at everything that you do and go, can I do something that is a little? You have to recognize your influences. But I think you really have to look at everything. That's what artists do. They say no more often than yes. Yeah, absolutely. You have to carve your own path. You do, and you have to, from the look, everything you're wearing, to the look of the record, to persona, and that's what artists do. They're making themselves like they would make a song or a sculpture or a painting. They're really sculpting themselves, hopefully playing to their positive attributes. And I'll say this, and then we'll close with this topic, but I remember going to a Kenny Chesney pitch one time. Kenny Chesney was there with his producer, Buddy Cannon, and about 9 or 12 writers were invited with acoustic guitars to play for those two, and that was an honor, certainly. And they're sitting there, and all of us are playing hits. We're bringing our A game, playing songs. And this one songwriter, I won't mention his name necessarily, but he played a song, killer. And Buddy Cannon, the producer, said, absolutely, we want to put that on hold. That's going to be on the next record. And Kenny said, play that chorus again. Played the chorus. He played the chorus. And Kenny goes, dude, that's a hit for somebody, but my audience won't believe that about me. Wow.
Yeah.
He just passed up a hit song because it's not his art. It's not reflective of who he is as an artist, not as a singer or as a number one hit song singer.
Yeah,
but
he could sing it just fine, but
but he's talking about, believability. This is who I am portraying myself as an artist. That's different than the versatility of a songwriter.
Gotcha.
Who can go, hey, let's write that. Oh, let's write a Carrie Underwood song. Hey, let's write a Lady Antebellum song. Hey, let's write one for blah, 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 blah. And we're chameleons. We can do that. But you can't be a chameleon necessarily as an artist. I mean, you can, but there's very few that succeed in that. And if you start out down the path wearing a cowboy hat and singing country songs, and now you've got your break, and now all of a sudden you're going, good, I get to be a pop artist, it hardly ever works.
Yeah.
Unless you're Taylor Swift.
That's a great distinction, though. Yeah, there is two brains that you have to turn on depending on what you're doing. Like if you're an artist, then you definitely need to say no and carve your own path and focus on originality. But if you're trying to be a songwriter for others, you maybe have to imitate more in the beginning just to get those cuts.
Yeah, and if there's a trend going on the radio, if artists are looking, if there's a certain trend, whether that means more of a hip hop beat or that means summer songs, beach songs. I remember back in the day, there used to be a rash of beach songs all of a sudden. Everybody was getting number one songs with beach songs. And so everybody was writing beach songs. And so it would be not unwise to do that, to write a beach song if that's what artists are kind of looking for, or something that's hip hop or something that's minor key. Maybe minor songs are getting cut more often. You're like, man, let's, and it's that's the business side of it that comes into play that's important. If you want to continue to do this, can you look at it like, that's not artistic at all? Well, stay in Lansing, Michigan. Nothing against you guys in Lansing, Michigan, but if you're here, there are some things that sort of temper your decisions and can lead success like that can lead to more freedom for you to express yourself any way you want to.
Totally.
Like an artist. An artist can play the game for a while and then get more, because they've had success, they can call the shots more. They can call the shots more and then sort of evolve, hopefully. But that's a delicate thing. That's a delicate balance for an artist, for sure, and writers too, at some point.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Man.
All right, let's jump into our last tip, which we kind of did plan out the video a little bit. So this one we knew was coming, but one way to make sure that your songs are not terrible is to get help. Right, and what we have is a great Grammy Award-winning songwriter in front of us today, Steve Leslie, who does help up-and-coming songwriters with their songwriting to help tell better stories, to help craft songs instead of just write them. And so I just wanted to give Steve a little pitch right now for his course and his mentorship that is currently available. You want to tell a little bit about that, Steve? Yeah,
man, and I appreciate you mentioning that. I've been doing this a long time. SongAssembly.com, SongAssembly, ASSEMBLY,
SongAssembly.
Is a great place to discover videos on the craft that we've uploaded.
Link in the description.
Yes. And go to SteveLeslie.com too to see some other things that I'm doing, and it's all pretty much self-explanatory from there. You can sign up to take different things that critique sessions, Skype sessions.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of content there that you can dive into. And it's it's not confusing. It's kind of laid out.
I figured it out. I took Steve's course.
Man.
It's actually in 3 parts. I took all 3 over a weekend, so it was really digestible. And pretty much over the course of a weekend, my songwriting improved, and it's better, just almost in every way. So thank you for making that and sharing your knowledge and your expertise. And just thank you for hopping on my channel and sharing with all the subscribers. And we have a few more videos out there with me and Steve talking about songwriting. So check them out on this channel. Yeah. Probably over in the, what direction am I pointing? Yeah, over in the sidebar, or I'm going to point in both directions just in case. I can't tell because the image is flipped. But yeah, check out the rest of our songwriting series here on YouTube. And I think with that, we're done with this video. We had some great tips. Thanks so much, Steve. And you guys subscribe to the channel to see more music industry and songwriting tips. And I'll see you guys on the next video.